Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Jeff and Paper Gary. It is Saturday, January 24th, in the garage for another day of aircraft building and working on the horizontal stabilizer. So if you remember where we left off last time, I was putting in the rivets on the left side skin. There are a few rivets that I'm not happy with that I'm going to drill out this morning and try to set those again. Recap from lessons learned: the biggest detriment to my riveting is too much pressure on the bucking bar side. So if you've watched previous videos, you've heard me explain, and if you are having struggles with your riveting and pushing rivets through as you're trying to buck rivets, it takes little to no pressure on that bucking bar side in order to let the rivet gun do its job. So keep that in mind as you're pressing forward. I'm going to drill out these rivets very carefully, replace them, and hopefully we get some great sets and can move on. Looking forward to getting the right side skin on today and seeing what else we might get finished. So it's early in the morning. I got a full day of build ahead of me-ish. Got to cut off a little bit early today as my wife has a social calendar for us to enjoy. So that's what today holds in store. If you watch my previous video on the unboxing, you will notice that I did make mention of not purchasing more rivets, and I think I'm getting low on the AN 426 3-4s, so I may have to go upstairs and rob from my wing kit rivets, and I'll replenish those later. So hopefully we don't let that stand in our way. It doesn't put us at a work stop, but at any rate, if it does, there are plenty of things that we can move on to with the rudder skins and the elevator skins and who knows what else from there. So stay tuned and let's see what we learn.
Okay, let's dig into this. So this is the part that starts to get really fun. We have spent weeks and weeks and weeks, or weekends and weekends and weekends, if you will, getting to the point where we can start buttoning together the entirety of the horizontal stab. And so a lot of that is, as we talked about before, prepping parts and drilling and deburring and cleaning edges and fluting and priming and getting things all together and match drilling so that you can put this all together. So now we're at this point where everything is starting to go together. So it's really fun, really exciting. Pardon the camera view here. I tried to get a little bit better view down inside there and didn't really show what I wanted to. But I will say, and we've talked about this once again, this cradle, right? You really can't or shouldn't build these parts without this cradle. So please, please, please take yourself your scrap wood, take some time, build your cradle. These things are going well. You see me switch back and forth between table and floor, and that's really just trying to figure out which one is most comfortable. The table being just a little too high when you're trying to stick your arm in there, and then the floor, it's kind of rough on the lower back, because you're on your knees down there working. So you will see eventually I just succumb to the floor and deal with that. Right here, I'm putting in that HS 706 rib, and so you kind of really have to take things out of the cradle to get that skin to open up wide enough to get that rib down far enough into the leading edge. Now, you may remember previously where we, long time ago, prepped these ribs, and the directions in the guide or in the book, I think, is perhaps not so clear. There is some bending of the leading flange, so that very forward part of the flanges where you are in the forwardmost leading edge of the skin area, and those flanges there, you got to curl those things in a little bit. So you shape them a bit more on your Scotch-Brite wheel and bend them in a little bit so that when you are pushing that thing down into the nose, if what I'll call the nose of the rib and the leading edge of the skin, you're not digging into the metal with those edges. So you can go ahead and be aggressive, probably isn't the right word, but if you put a little bit of bend in there, you probably want to put just a little bit more, but don't go too crazy with that. So you still want to make sure that surface sits flat and flush up against the skin where the rivet is going through. So it's going to be a judgment call. Put it in there, take it out, tune it a little bit, put it back in there. But you'll want to get a fair enough bend so that you're not risking tearing into the metal. So enough about that. You guys will figure it out. Going through here, you put the forward rib in first. I guess the forward center, which 708 rib. No, I think that's the aft one. At any rate, bringing my daughter in now. After you get that forward rib in, and then the 706 end rib in, it's time to put the rest of the skeleton in there. And so it helps to have a second person here while you're holding that in place. And my daughter, of course, putting in the clecos, and so she can go on her merry way, and I can get to riveting in this spar. So really have to have, I don't know about really have to, certainly helps to have a second set of hands in there to get that all together. Now, I am going to put in, you'll see, like every single cleco in this thing. Why? I really don't know. I'm not sure I had to, but it certainly didn't hurt. So I put in all the clecos in there and then remove one at a time to do the riveting. I just wanted to be, I guess, a little overly cautious to make sure that everything stays in place where it's supposed to be, and those get installed. What you see here now is connecting that the two ribs, the two mid-span ribs, so that aft rib and the forward rib, and they call for 3 of the pull-through rivets. So it's really just stick your rivet tool down inside there. I used, and I don't know if you caught it here in the video, it's moving kind of quickly. Sometimes it's hard to get the rivet down in the hole, and you need some alignment or a little bit of pressure on there. That's tough to do with the rivet gun. I just took a small diameter deep well socket on a 1/4 inch extension and put the rivet in there, and helps to get a little bit of force and push that thing down into place. So little trick there that worked pretty well. Squeeze those in, then those 2 ribs are connected with the spar sandwiched in between them, and now we're going through on the riveting process. And it's just a slow, methodical process at this point. Pull the cleco, put that in there, get your bucking bar all squared around, and go shoot them. What I did notice, and it was kind of funny, I caught myself removing the bucking bar every single time instead of just leaving it down in there on the spar. This is part of my old aircraft habits of being a mechanic and never leaving anything in there, because you never know when you're going to forget about that, or fob wise, you want to have tool accountability. And so every time I do this, I take the bucking bar out, and then I have to go drop the bucking bar back in. So no point there really, just that an oddity. But you do want to make sure that you certainly don't leave anything in there. The other thing that I checked before I did this, I drilled out a bunch of rivets, and the tails sometimes fall down inside there. Before you're all done with this thing, turn it upside down, give it a shake, make sure you don't hear anything rattling in there. It'd be kind of annoying to have something in there. And there's a couple of little holes in the edges there where there's relief cuts in the ribs, where you could stick a vacuum in there or shake those things out and not have FOD living in your aircraft for the rest of its life. So be really careful in there. When I was done with this, there was a bunch of marks from the bucking bar inside on that spar, and so I just went there and shot it with some primer to make it look all good. And that was really about it. So this is Jeff and Paper Gary out for this one short video. Until next time, friends, take care of yourselves and each other.